Hey everybody, Matt here with Halloween Daily News, and tonight we are talking about the Batman. It seems like we've been talking about this forever. It's been about 2 years since we started covering the Batman, since it started filming. And then, of course, filming was delayed, and then the release date was delayed and delayed and delayed over and over again. But it is finally here. As I'm recording this, I just saw the movie last night during a Thursday night preview. My son and I went to the local theater here and checked it out, and we loved it. We both agreed that it is absolutely one of the best Batman movies ever, if not the best. And it is one of the best superhero movies of all time, easily as well. Uh, Needless to say, I'm a big Batman fan. If you're a regular viewer of this channel and have heard me talk about Batman before, I love the character. I love all the Batman movies. I'm a huge fan of the entire mythology. And so I've been very excited for Matt Reeves' interpretation and reboot of the Batman world. I mean, I grew up watching reruns of the Adam West TV series as a kid growing up in the 70s, and then I read the comic books well into my teens, and then it was around age 13 when I saw Tim Burton's Batman, and it literally is the film that changed how I look at films ever since. I mean, before that, I tended to focus on the actors that were in the movie. Oh, this is the new Stallone movie or the new Arnold movie. I love these guys. I want to go see their new film. After Tim Burton's Batman, it was all about the filmmaker, who the director is. That's what I paid attention to first and foremost as far as what films I want to be excited about and want to look forward to going to see. And then it happened again with this franchise with The Dark Knight when they cast Heath Ledger as the Joker, because I loved Burton's Batman and Batman Returns. I loved Nicholson as an actor so much, and I loved his performance as the Joker. And my feeling at the time was Batman's got this entire rogues gallery of enemies. Why do we have to go back to the Joker already so soon? But of course, I wasn't very familiar with Heath Ledger's work either at that time, and still haven't seen a ton of his work outside of The Dark Knight. But man, when that movie came out, myself, like everybody, we saw that performance, and I was just blown away. And after that point, I decided I'm never again going to question a director's casting choice, at least until after seeing the final film and seeing how the performer did in the role. So I've been excited for the Batman, needless to say, for quite some time, and I'm going to keep this as spoiler free as possible. But if you do want to go into the movie completely blind, then obviously, as much as I love that you're here, you should probably turn this off and go see the Batman and then come back and watch this. What I'm going to be talking about here tonight is specifically the Halloween aspect of the Batman and the long Halloween aspect of the Batman. And again, I'm going to try my best to keep this as spoiler free as possible, but obviously there are some minor spoilers ahead. So if you haven't seen the film yet or don't want to know anything, you better go check it out first and then come back and finish the video. That being said, I am very happy to report that The Batman is a Halloween movie. It is, in fact, everything that we hoped and suspected that it was going to be, based on some set photos that surfaced and some casting calls that surfaced and hints that Matt Reeves and the cast put out on social media, and even official statements from writer-director Matt Reeves that The Long Halloween was part of the inspiration of this story. We've known from the beginning it would be a detective story, which The Long Halloween is. We've known from the beginning that it was going to take place in year 2 of Bruce Wayne being Batman, which is roughly around the time that The Long Halloween comic book story takes place as well. This is still early in Batman's crime-fighting career. He hasn't quite become the world's greatest detective that he's gonna become. And the comic book story of The Long Halloween is kind of the case that teaches him that he does have to actually investigate some of these crimes to get to the ultimate person that he's after. In that case, it is a serial killer called Holiday. In the case of the film, it is not quite a literal adaptation. As I said in all of our reporting throughout the last few years, and as we suspected, this is, of course, not a literal adaptation of The Long Halloween, but as we hoped, there are definitely some elements of that Long Halloween incorporated in the Batman, and most notably is the fact that the movie, just like the comic, begins on Halloween. And literally, I believe the first words of dialogue in the entire film, aside from just a bit of newscasting in the background, is actually the words Thursday, October 31st. So there you go. It is a Halloween movie. The first part of the film does take place all during Halloween, and there is some very cool imagery that you can see throughout, and then it moves on. But unlike the comic book, which takes place throughout the course of a year, beginning on Halloween and ending the following Halloween, this story takes place really only just over the course of a few days. And so that means that, yes, it starts on October 31st and it concludes just a few days after Halloween itself. So it's all set during the Halloween season and during the days just after the holiday itself. Now, the storyline, too, does bear a lot of similarities to The Long Halloween without being the exact same story. You know from the marketing, from the previous trailers, from the press releases, that the main villain of this film is, of course, the Riddler. The Penguin's in there as well, and Catwoman's there as well. And it's setting the stage for even other iconic villains that we all know and love from the Batman universe. But the big villain in this piece is obviously the Riddler, and we know this going in. The big villain in the Long Halloween is the Holiday Killer. So there's that difference right there. But some of Riddler's methods and tactics that he uses to get Batman's attention in the Batman are very reminiscent of the Long Halloween, like leaving these cards. He leaves these greeting cards, of course, with riddles inside for the Batman at the scene of all of his crimes. And this is very much in the style of what the Holiday Killer does in the Long Halloween. And if you'll remember way back when the very first teaser for the Batman was released, and we got this quick shot here of a greeting card, I wrote an article right away saying that this had to be a Halloween greeting card. And, well, let's just say that we were on the right track with a lot of what we were thinking as far as the Halloween imagery in the Batman. And speaking of the Riddler, I've got to say, this is probably my favorite interpretation of the Riddler. He is terrifying. He brings the horror into this. This is truly much more like a horror movie, like a psychological thriller, than it is a superhero film. That's the way it feels. It has much more in common with David Fincher's Seven and the movie Zodiac and even the real life Zodiac Killer, which this Riddler is clearly inspired by, and the film has much more in common with those serial killer films than it does really any of the other superhero films in the genre. But this Riddler has a radical new look and tone to him, and I think fans are just going to eat this up. And again, a bit of his methodology as well as a bit of his motives are a bit similar to who the Holiday Killer is ultimately revealed to be in the comics, but it is far from the same. And there's also bits of the Long Halloween in Selena Kyle's story, aka Catwoman, as well as crime boss Carmen Falcone and his relationship with Bruce Wayne's father, Thomas Wayne. Although, again, many of these details, while some are left in and kind of pay homage to the source material, many are changed outright completely as well. All right, we're going to talk much more about this, obviously, once you all have seen the film, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and reactions down in the comments below, especially as it pertains to the Long Halloween elements. And again, I'm just hitting the surface on this. I'm trying not to spoil too much for you guys, and hopefully we've given ample warning for that. But it's not a literal adaptation of the Long Halloween, obviously, but safe to say we've got a Batman Halloween movie now, guys. All right, go see the Batman. Let me hear your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's talk about the Batman again real soon. I think I'm going to have to go see it again this weekend. I'm Matt Arts for Halloween Daily News. Thank you for watching.